I got this really painful rash wound. If your dog or cat gets any type of skin lesion, rash, burn, wound, cut, infection, these are my top 5 remedies. Most importantly, the remedy, which is free, that I've used to heal myself. Are you looking to learn more about natural pet health and wellness? You've come to the right place. Click the link to subscribe to Veterinary Secrets. So I went on a bit of a family trip to Hawaii. I was with my wife Catherine, my brother Michael, his wife Shannon. It is sunny, it's tropical, the air is warm, the water is warm. Where I come from, aka here in Nelson, it is cold. Currently, it is -10 outside. Snow, ice, brrr. Needless to say, we were pretty excited being there. I'm like, okay, when you're here, you gotta do what the Hawaiians do. We're like, I've got an idea. Let's go surfing. I didn't have a swim shirt on, so you get skin, it's rubbing up against the surfboard. The surfboard is pretty abrasive. It is that way to make it easy for beginners like us to stand up. Guess what? I just rubbed a whole bunch of skin raw, red, inflamed, and don't be shocked, I'm gonna show it to you. This is it here. Doesn't look super great, in part because I did it for the second day we were there. Everything healed up. I treated myself the last day. I'm like, oh, I can't leave Hawaii without surfing again. So I went surfing just yesterday. And what did I do? I re-inflamed the thing all over again. But when I first did it, I got out of the water, as you can imagine, salt on top of irritated skin, pretty darn stingy. So I'm like, okay, what would be a really good effective home remedy? Number one, that's going to provide me immediate pain relief. It's darn sore. Number two, I want to deal with some of the inflammation, but I don't want to stop the inflammatory cells. They're there to help promote healing. I want to prevent this thing from getting infected. And then number three, I want to speed up healing. Where what happens is the surface of the wound, it fills in with things called epithelial cells, along with fibroblasts or scar tissue. And that's how the wound is brought back together. So for instance, if Tula hurt herself, she had a cut in between her pad here, I would use some of these topical remedies. Or if Cassian, our new cat, decided to get into a fight, which of course he won't because he's such a big, sucking, affectionate cat. But if he had a little puncture here in his ear tip, I would once again use some of these topical remedies. Cassian, he was really happy we were home last night because all he did was lie on top of me and purr and purr and purr and purr and purr and wake me up early. Kitty, oh, kitty cat. Number one, the old veterinary standby remedy. And believe it or not, it's in virtually all of the wound healing creams you get at a pharmacy. None other than this Vaseline, also known as petroleum jelly. By applying that Vaseline over top of the wound, let's just say for instance it was over here on top of my hand, what it does is number one, it covers the wound and protects it. When that happens, the wound is in the right environment to speed healing. It protects it by covering it, it keeps moisture in, you see much faster wound healing. So if you have nothing else and you're set, like if I were to put something topically on my dog or cat, they've just got a cut, a laceration, that's it, fine. Just get yourself some Vaseline. It is everywhere. Put that on 2 to 3 times a day. Number two, coming from the castor bean. This guy here, castor oil. The active ingredient in castor oil, it's called ricinoleic acid. So castor oil can do a bunch of things similar to the Vaseline, but far, far better. So number one, it forms that protective layer. It's gonna cover the skin, cover the wound, speeding wound healing, preventing it from drying out. Number two though, it provides topical pain relief by having in this ricinoleic acid. Great, that's what we want. We wanna feel better. We want our dog or cat to not be in pain. Then number three, it also has some antibacterial properties. Really, really important. So yeah, do not discount castor oil. If you have something like that, your dog or cat's been injured, you can put this on virtually everything. Any type of skin lesion, any type of wound, safe, often really effective. Number three, coming from the cannabis plant, the non-psychoactive portion of it, CBD, cannabidiol. It provides great natural pain relief for dogs and cats. It doesn't have the side effects of the NSAIDs. But then secondarily, it can also be used topically to once again speed up wound healing. Specific animal studies, they've actually seen that when you apply topical CBD, it actually speeds the rate post-surgical wounds. Say for instance, your dog has been in for an ovariohysterectomy, i.e. a dog spay. The surface of the skin was a little bit red and inflamed where the spay incision was. Feel free to then go on ahead and apply that CBD 2 to 3 times a day over top of the wound. And it's doing two things. Number one, it's going to take away some of the red inflammation, less pain. Number two, it's going to provide the right environment so this wound is going to heal quicker. Because I was away, I did not have this, but if I had it, I would have taken some orally, because as you can imagine, this is kind of sore, as well as put it topically on my wound. Number 4, this is a homemade cream. It's made out of this. The first part, coconut oil. Second part is this, beeswax. The coconut, it is a great oil to help heal any type of injured skin. It's going to cover the skin, provide that somewhat of that protective layer. It's not as good as some of the other things like castor oil. Number 2, it can naturally decrease some of the inflammation, enough just to take away pain, but not remove all the inflammatory cells or actually helping eat some of the bacteria. Then thirdly, it is a good topical antibacterial, right? So it's kind of one really good. If you have nothing else, all you have is coconut oil, fine, use that. But this combination cream I'm going to show you, much better. So number 1, we're starting with coconut oil, 2 tablespoons. Then secondarily, I want you to get some of the beeswax. So beeswax itself, it makes a great base. A small amount will actually turn that softened coconut oil into the ideal form of a cream to then topically put on top of your dog or cat skin that's been injured or affected. But not only that, it's got some great antibacterial properties. Then number 3, it can also help form that layer, keeping moisture in the skin, ultimately speeding wound healing. So those two in combination, really important. I actually have this cream all over my house. I use it regularly. So into your pot where you've added 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, then you're gonna add in this amount, 1 teaspoon of our beeswax. Smells like honey. You just put your pot on at medium heat, warm them up in about 5 minutes. They're all gonna be melted and blended. Mix them up, pour them into a jar like this, let them sit and cool, and you're gonna be left with a cream that looks like this. Personally, it's just a great hand cream if you wanna make yourself some hand cream. It's nice and soft, makes your skin feel good. It's also a great topical anti-inflammatory. But more importantly, the point of this, these 2 things are great options. And this jar, I think I made about 2 months ago, so it lasts a long time. Apply that over top of that wound. You can do that 2 to 4 times a day. 4 times initially for the first few days. You want to decrease all the redness. You want to speed up healing. You want to make sure we don't have to deal with surface bacteria. It's going to kill some of the bacteria. Then twice a day for most of those wounds, somewhere between 7 to 10 days. This will do the trick. Then number 5, coming from the wilds of Hawaii. This is a leaf of the aloe plant, also known as aloe vera. So I brought this upon myself. And right after that, I'm like, okay, what can I get? I went through the pharmacy. Pretty much all I had was these like Vaseline-based wound healing creams. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, so I want something that's gonna do beneficial things to me. So I looked in, they didn't have a specific aloe cream that I wanted or anything aloe topically. So we walked the streets, went 1 block over, and what did we find? An aloe plant. So I started putting that on that night. And literally within a couple days, because I did this first injury about a week ago, looked great. Within a few days, it looked great. Pretty much it was just about fully healed until the day before when I decided to resurf again and injure myself. But yeah, this is all I used. I used topical aloe. So I just squeezed some of the end of the aloe out of the end of the leaf stalk. Sticky like this, as you can see. And, I just topically treated myself, right? And the nice thing is that putting it on, I got some instant great pain relief, which I really appreciated. Number 2, it provided a great surface layer over top of the skin. It's keeping the moisture in. Number 3, it's going to speed up wound healing in terms of dealing with some of that secondary bacteria. It's got great antibacterial properties. And the other big key part about aloe vera in particular is that although it decreases inflammation, it doesn't prevent the good inflammatory cells from coming in there and dealing with that surface infection. And I was looking at this one review study. They looked at, I think, almost 30 different studies, specifically looking at the use of topical aloe for burns, for injuries, cuts, etc. And all the different things they looked at, like this thing came out on top, aloe vera. 100% safely and effectively put this over top of your dog or cat, whatever surface skin wound they have. We're not all going to have access to an aloe plant. right? I mean, you can't walk down the street, especially here in Nelson, and find one. But what do I get from my local co-op? This is 99% organic aloe vera leaf juice. This just be a great thing to have on hand for your animals. It comes out as like this gel formation. Really easy to put on. I can say it is easier than putting on the juice from the aloe vera plant, but I was just so excited. Like, wow, I want aloe vera. I can't find it in the grocery store. I walk like a block over, and what do I find? Just aloe vera growing out of the edge of the sidewalk, which is awesome. And I can attest now, after putting the aloe on, feel a lot better. It was feeling a little bit painful right now with my shirt rubbing up against it. Put on the aloe, I'm like, oh, that feels really good. Me being my own guinea pig, I can say, yeah, of all these guys here, I've actually tried them all. I think I really liked this, the coconut, the beeswax. Didn't have access to that. Vaseline, I had some of that. Didn't really do much of anything. Didn't have castor oil, didn't have CBD. I sure would have used that if I had it. This is the one I found most effective, and it was free. Thanks so much for watching this edition of Veterinary Secrets of what I consider my 5 most important topical skin remedies for cuts, burns, surf rashes, whatever red, painful skin lesion your dog or cat may have. Click up there to subscribe, hit the bell to sign up for notifications. Then you click that link directly in the box below. I can send you a copy of my free book. That's what we saw at the top of the hike. I'm hiking with my wife, Catherine, my brother, Michael, and his wife, Shannon. And then about 15 dogs of various sizes, shapes, and temperaments, and they were so well behaved. The awesome dog walkers from Honolulu, they're called Wolfpack Adventures. They're obviously more than dog walkers. They're dog trainers. They got all of these dogs to sit, stay, and take their picture. So hard to believe. So we continued on our hike in beautiful Hawaii, and had me reflecting, maybe there are no bad dogs, just bad owners.